Yeah, so this is what we want to look at. Okay, so let us look at one command one after the other. Okay, and then we would be basically able to understand what these are for. Okay, so let me start with a module called as user. Okay, so for any module, the easiest way to Google it is just call it as Ansible module user, and you would be directly taken to the documentation of it. Mostly, in most of the cases. Okay. Okay. So what is this meant for? It is meant for managing user accounts. But if you want to manage Windows by any chance, it is not meant for that. Use win_user for that. Okay. So we are speaking only about Linux machines, no Windows machine as of now. Okay. So these are all the properties which you can put into. Okay. Now, if I want to add a user, there are multiple ways of doing it. I can give SSH key and all of that, like what Ansible creates PEM files and basically associates. If you want to do the same thing, you can do even that. Okay. So how can I basically write it? Okay. So whenever you are looking into it, there is one important aspect always in this table. You are saying this required, right? Okay. The first after parameter, the second column is required. Please go through this once again and if you see what is required over here. So that is the minimum thing which you have to enter. If you don't enter that, it would give an error. For example, here in this case, it is saying that name of the user is mandatory. So you can't skip that property. Okay. Let us come down a bit. Okay. And there are some other important properties, but those important properties, what they have is they might have default values. Okay. For example, create home. Whenever you are creating a user, create home, okay, is not required, but the default value of it is yes. So whenever you do user and then -- name Ansible, then it creates a home directory for you. If you don't want that to happen, then put the no, right? Make sense? Yeah. So you have to look at these two possible values first, and then whenever you are trying to write a value of anything, please try to look if there are any valid values for that. For example, force, there are only two valid values to this. Okay, and if you come a bit down, okay, state, present and absent. If you want to create a user, use a state called as present. If you want to delete a user, use a state called as absent. So that's how it goes. Okay, so three important values, and then you would have comments. Just this will help you to write a very basic stuff also. It's very easy for us to find it up. Make sense, right? So I'm not going to create a user. I'll be leaving it for you. So if I have to create a user, I would just write it over here. I'll not execute it. I want you guys to execute it. Okay. For example, yesterday we have written Tomcat installation. Okay. So let us assume that I want to create a user called as Tomcat now. So what is that I would start with? I would go into the tasks. I would start at the same position. Am I at the same column? Yes. Name. Okay. Create Tomcat user. And what is the module which I'm going to use now? I'm going to use a module called as user. Okay. And in this user, I would be using something called as name. And name of the user which I want to create is Tomcat. That's it. Okay. And then state is required, right? So let us go into state. What is the default value of state? So there is no need for me to write state if I want to create a user, because even if you don't write state, it would take the value of present. Only when you want to basically delete it, then there is a need for you to write it. But we will still write it because it increases readability. State present another default value. Why do we write it is because this we want to make it readable to the user to understand that we are creating a user out of this step. Just by looking at user name, he might not know it, or there is a chance that he might be confused. So that's why we will be explicit about it. But even if you don't write that state line, it is going to create a user. Okay, make sense, right? Now I want to work on the second commonly used module, which is called as group. Password, just look at the other attributes. How do I set the password? Everything is in the SSH key code and password in the code. Obviously, right? Okay. Now, the second module which I want to work is, let me go into the all modules. But all modules, the problem is it is difficult to find it because there might be multiple modules which contain the world code as group. So for example, if I search group, see if you find many, because it is just not user groups. There are many other groups in Ansible modules. So always the safer bet is Ansible module group. Okay. Now generally whenever you create a user, you would try to add user to that group. For example, admin group or whatever group it is. Okay. So if that is the case, how do I work on it? Okay. Fine. GID required? No, it is not required. But if you want to specify, yes, you can. Name is mandatory. So, and the status same, present and absent. Even if you don't give anything, it would try to create the stuff because the default value is present. And then, is it a system? No. Okay. If yes, a group is created in the system group. If you want to create a system user, then you would be going with this. So, how do I write a group? Simple. Group, name of the group, and then present. Much like the user. So, for example, this Tomcat user, okay, I'd be creating a group for it. Okay, create Tomcat group and group. What is the name of the group? I'd give it as Tomcat itself. Okay, state present. This is not required, but still I'm writing because the person who reads it understands that I'm trying to create a user. Okay, and then apart from this, okay, so you are seeing group add, group delete, and group mod. Okay, so these are the requirements on the host. Fine. So if you want, you can get into these activities. I'm not getting into this because this is a very basic activity, and you would find the directly playbooks of all of this choice. Okay, so second one is also done. I'm interested in this one. This one looks somewhat interesting for me. So Ansible module, and let me search if I can find something called as command directly. Come on, guys. Okay. Command module. Okay. By the way, this command doesn't guarantee idempotency. Whenever you use this, idempotency is not guaranteed. So whenever you are using command, it becomes your responsibility as an Ansible developer to basically correct it. Make sense? Okay. So let us see an example of command. Okay. Forget about the register which you are looking at over there. Okay. There is command called as cat etc motd. What are they? Okay. And if you come down, basically you are seeing something like user bin make database.sh arg1 and arg2. Okay. What are they? They are basic Linux commands. Okay. You remember me that I had a question while I was starting the class saying that how can I change the host name? Right? Now I'd be using a command, and in command I'd be writing a raw Linux statement to change the host name. That's it. Okay. Command is to execute raw Linux statements. Are they idempotent? No. Because the command which you execute, it becomes your responsibility to make it idempotent or not. For example, you create a file from here. Okay. And you have written a code called as touch here. Touch some file name. Okay. And next time also it will try to execute that. It would not verify whether if the file is present, then only I have to touch it. That becomes your responsibility. Okay. So whenever we are working on command module, remember idempotency is not guaranteed. Okay. So avoid command as much as possible. అంటే కమాండే వాడేసి చాలా మంది అడ్మిన్స్ చేసే తప్పు ఏంటంటే వాళ్ళకి లినక్స్ కమాండ్స్ బాగా వస్తాయి. They are well aware of Linux commands, and they try to use something like command in Ansible and exec in Chef, where they can execute raw Linux statements. But the problem is they miss out the basic property of configuration management, which is idempotency. Okay, so use this only when there is no option. Okay, use this as an extreme end case, or whenever you are using it, try to guarantee idempotency, because whenever you are using a command statement, it becomes our responsibility to do that. Okay, so now, for example, there is already something called as, he want to remove some var logs folder, so that's why he has done it. But every time it will remove, it will not see whether the folder is present or not. It would blindly try to execute that command. Okay, fine. So let us execute a very raw Linux command from here. Okay, so Ansible. Okay, timed out. Okay, so Ansible -m command. Okay, so this is the same playbook execution, but I am using the ad hoc command way. If you remember, we have used Ansible -m ping all, right? Okay, so let us just have a look at this Ansible command once. Okay, there are certain things which we need to understand about this command. Okay, so let us start from, so Ansible, and then -a is what? Module arguments, right? And then this is something which you want to pass now, because ping doesn't have any parameters, but now we are trying to run a module which is called as command, and this has arguments. Okay, and now here cat etc/motd, and where do you want to run this command? Let us assume that I want to run this command on DB server. Okay, it will not display the value. Okay, I'll come back to why that is. Okay, this we have to basically work out in a different way, but let us do one. Okay, so we got some more information. What is that I have done? I've added something called as -v. So let me do one more activity. So now what is happening? It is doing bit more. Okay, so I had to run the same command again, so that to understand the context of it. So if you want to have a detailed look of what basically Ansible does, okay, so let us execute this command. I think we had done it already, right? Oh no, it has lost it. Okay, Ansible -m. I want to execute module called as command, and for that I want to give an argument which is anything, any argument, cat etc/motd, and this I want to execute on DB. I want to execute on one machine. So when I do it, it says that it is success. Okay, And now I want to understand what Ansible is working on. So I want to increase the number of logs which is displayed on the console. So what I would do is I would execute the same command, but I would add something called as -v. Okay. Then it is giving me some information saying that it is using this configuration file. Okay. And now I want to go one level deeper. So I'd be giving -v. And now it tries to tell that, okay, that is a configuration file, this is a configured module, and your module is present at the following path, and Ansible Python's location is over here, and it gives you some more elaborate information of what is happening. Okay. And then there is something called as running handlers and all of that. Okay. And now I would execute the same command, and this time I'd make it V. So this will be the most elaborate logs, and it would try to tell what has happened during your Ansible run completely. So what my recommendation would be that everyone here might have executed Ansible -ping all. Okay, try to do one ping to one machine and enable V logging and try to see what happens. That will explain how Ansible works. That will explain how Ansible works. If you can make out the steps of what it is doing, then it becomes very simple for you to tell it as a workflow. Okay. So Ansible ela work ayindi ani cheppadaniki entakante better way le. Okay. And there is one more thing which I want to also check. Okay. Ansible -m, and I want to use a module called as setup on DB server. It has returned me many details, right? And let me have a look at these details closely. So what is the module which I have run? Setup. Okay. What it has collected? It has collected something called as Ansible facts. And what are those Ansible facts? The IP address of the machine which I'm speaking to is this. IPv6 is this. Okay. Ansible architecture is this. Okay. And it has collected many details about that machine. Okay. And these details are called as facts. Okay. And if you want to do anything on that machine, you can use these facts internally somewhere in your playbook. Okay. For example, I want to create a file where I need to enter active user of this machine. So probably Ansible or user ID, Ansible underscore user underscore UID is a variable name. This variable name, if I know how to use it in my playbook.yml file, my problem will be solved, because this will give me the value of that, and I would replace this with that. Okay, make sense? Yeah. So Ansible collects these things called as facts. Okay, and this is done with every step automatically. Whenever you are executing Ansible, this is part of your execution. But if you don't want this to happen, we have written become yes, right? And then you can say gather facts no. Gather underscore facts to be no, so that your executions will be faster, because Ansible will not try to get or pull these details from your server. Okay, so, but this is enabled by default. Okay, if you want, you have to disable it by writing an entry over here. Okay, which is gather underscore facts no. If you don't write it, the default value of it is yes, and with every Ansible command you are trying to execute, it would try to execute this, or it would try to fetch the facts of the variable. And if you want to see what are the variables facts, you can use the same command which I have used, Ansible -m setup, and give what is the host group which you want. Okay, so this will be done as part of as an intermediary step along with everything. But if you want, sometimes on production servers we don't want all of that stuff, because we might have already set up a monitoring system for that, so we might not use it. So in these cases, on production playbooks, sometimes you would see this. If they are very critical in terms of performance, then you might come across gather underscore facts as no. Fine. So let us also continue further. Okay, so, and there is something called as copy module. Okay, sounds interesting. Let us see what is this. Okay, Ansible module copy. I'm spending time on all of this just to show you that even if you have to work on a newest module which we have not discussed today, which has created probably after 6 months, it is easy to do that. The only thing which you need to know is what is the purpose of that module, and to execute it anyway there will be help, there will be examples. So now let us just look into it. Ansible copy module. Copy module copies file from a local or a remote machine to the location on the remote machine. Okay, and how can I do that? So there are something called as attributes. Do you want to take backup? By default the value of backup is this. Content is no. Decrypt, do you want to enable any kind of decryption? Okay, destination, directory mode, all of this. Okay, and what is the important stuff out of it? Where is yes? I think I missed out. Destination is yes, is it? Yeah. Yeah. So destination is a mandatory property we have to give whenever we are working with copy module. And always the easier way to understand it is go with examples. Now, basically what it's trying to tell is it's trying to copy a file from here to here. Okay. The same example, but he is using the symbolic link now. Okay. So we got the whole essence of it, right? Copy module is basically used to copy files from one place to another. Okay, so shall we try? Yeah. So let me quickly write one module. Okay, I will do it in Visual Studio Code. I'll not be able to do it over there. So let me close all of these editors. No, I don't want to save anything. And yesterday I think we have created classroom something, right? Classroom examples. Yes. So I'd be creating a new file over there. Okay. Commonly used modules dot yml. Okay. So since it is a structure, we would be following this hyphen host. Let me do it on all. If I want, I change it. Okay. And then become as yes. Okay. And then task. So what is the first task which I want to do? I want to start a task which is okay. Copy module. Okay. So module is copy, and then in the copy there are two important things which I need to write. One is source, the other one is destination, and in the destination who is the owner and all of that, right? So I'll not be worried about the owner mode and all of that. I would be worried about only source and destination. Okay. So what I would do is okay. So let us copy this my inventory file. Okay, onto that machine. Let us see whether it works or not. Okay. So my path is src, right? src. src is home, Ansible, my inventory, and destination is home, Ansible, my env copied. Just to have the stuff. Okay. Now let me copy this. Okay. And let me see whether it behaves the same or not. Okay. Whatever as what we are thinking. So how can it disconnect? ఆ జియో కేబుల్ ఏదో ఉన్నట్టుంది, అది తీసుకురమ్మనండి. ఆ జియోది ఏదో డివైస్ కొన్నారు. ఈ ఈ ఇంటర్నెట్ ని రాత్రి భూత వైద్యుడికి చూపించమనండి, మామూలు మనుషులు చేయలేరు దీన్ని. Pardon me? Hmm. Source means local system, destination means remote system. Okay. So let us test and find out whether it is fact or not. Okay. And password basically we would be giving while executing the command itself, right? So password ఆన్లైన్ కావట్లేదు బాబు అన్న. Okay, guys, I think there is a network drop. Yeah, please bear with me. If this happens, that will be end of our class. Next time network not connected, that is the we'll finish stop our class there. Okay, so fine. But the problem is the flow will be disturbed. We're executing a command and suddenly something. See. Okay, so okay, and now I want to get into playbooks folder and vi at great test.yml file. I don't want to write that huge name over here. Okay, ఏమైంది? It's okay. Fine. I want to run this file. Okay. Now let me run this with Ansible hyphen playbook, and then I would be giving minus capital K because it has to ask me for a password. Okay. And then what are the other things which I need to give? Just a playbook file, nothing apart from that. Hyphen M is whenever you are running as ad hoc command, but this I am running a playbook. Okay. So yeah, so let us just have minus V first. Okay, if you want we can execute the same thing again and again, right? Yeah, so minus V and test.name. It asks for the password. So what is happening? Okay, it says that it has done it. So let us do it again. Okay, let us execute this again. Then I would log in into these machines and show you. Okay, this time are you seeing change? Change is 0 because what it says is that file is already there. And now let us log in into one of these machines. Okay, so let me log in into this machine. SSH. Okay, are you seeing it? Yes. So actually file was in my control machine and I have copied it to remote machine. Okay. But whenever you want to copy the file from the remote machine to the control machine, then you have to change the arguments. And వేరే machine నుండి వేరే machine లో copy చేయాలని that is bit critical. But whenever you want to copy a file from a local machine to somewhere on that machine, you have to easily use SRC, and SRC is a path of control server's file system. And whenever I say destination, destination is file system of your node wherever you are trying to execute it. And now if it has to copy any file, then I can use it, right? Now let us discuss on Tomcat's deployment. Okay, in Tomcat, how do we deploy it? We would have Tomcat, and Tomcat would have web apps folder. In that web apps folder, we have to copy a var file, right? So can I use copy module for that? Yes. And after that, I have to restart Tomcat. So I would install a Tomcat server, and then I would use a copy module, and then I would use service Tomcat start. So that's a deployment, typical deployment. It would be the same in most of the application servers. Paths might change, right? So copy module is very much useful whenever you are trying to copy certain things from your machine. Okay. So slowly we'll come back to how do we download from internet. We'll also come back to that. Okay. But yes, yes, yes. See, basically we have created, whenever you are trying to copy, it has to execute two commands. It has to basically download it, and it has to create a file also. Creating a file and then have downloading the content. So that's why it is giving it as that. Yeah. Okay. So now whenever we are trying to work on file copies, okay, so you have to just basically your decision should be, am I copying it from a local system or am I downloading it from internet? Copying it from local system, blindly go to this. And let us just go through the documentation of it once again. Okay. So I don't see anything about internet, but if I have to copy the modules, I can blindly go with it. And whenever you are creating a file, you can give basically the file credentials, who should be the owner for that, and what is the group ID for that. That anyway is done. But if you don't give anything, it would be created with the user who is considered to be who is the thing which you have configured for the Ansible's execution. In my case, that file's credentials would be with the name of the Ansible user. Yeah. But if you want to change it, you have to give these details for it. Yeah. Fine. Now there is something called as get underscore URL. So let us go to that module. Okay. Ansible module get underscore URL. Okay. So this was the same statement which I was discussing about. If it is copying from your local system to your production servers, use copy module. But if it is about downloading from internet, use get underscore URL. Okay. For the sake of simplicity, what I would do is, let me see if I have any downloads over here. I want the thing to be simple, but not. Okay, let me download this WinPcap itself. What is the problem with that? Okay, then execute it, download cheskuntan. You would be, if you want, you can, or let us make it somewhat relevant. Okay, so Jenkins. Let us assume that I want to download Jenkins onto my Linux machine. Jenkins var. Alright. So download. Okay, and whenever you come over here, so I want to download a var package. Okay. So let me go to the history. For me, this is the easiest way to find out, copy the locations. Yeah. Copy link address. Done. So now what is that we have to do? So let us look into it. I want to download this file onto certain folder of my node. Okay. So backup, I don't want any backup. Okay. Destination, Yeah, this was the property where you would be telling where do you want it from. Okay, let us come down. URL. Okay, so I'd be using a module called as get URL, and then I would be basically giving the URL address and then the destination. And to understand it better, I would also refer it to examples so that it is easy for me to understand. So I'll see the first example. He had given something called as URL, and that URL is trying to download it in Etsy some location, and basically has given the mode. I'll not be giving any modes. Okay, you can go through the documentation to understand what is the default mode, but if you want, you can set the mode. Okay, you can set it to whatever basically mode, file modes which you want to. Okay, so shall we continue now? Yeah, I'd be using a module name which is called as get underscore URL for downloading from HTTP, and I'd be using get underscore URL. In get underscore URL, the property is URL will become the source. So directly copy your link over here, and then destination. Destination is home Ansible Jenkins.org. That's what I wanted. Okay. So just going through the table makes the life simpler. Yeah. Fine. Let me copy this. Let me get into this machine. I'll commit all of this to the GitHub. There is no need for you to write this playbook. Okay. If you want, you can just write the module's name. The playbook anta github.com/a square zone, and in that there will be Ansible zone, and in that there will be a folder called as classroom examples. You can go through that. Okay. So vi, okay, not here. cd. Okay, this is not our machine, right? This is the node which I'm working on. So vi test.yml, and in test.yml I should be basically copying only this. Oh man. That's the reason why I copy complete files. I'm very bad at this. Okay, I think I've done the correct job. Name seems like on the same column, right? Yeah. Fine. Now again the same command, Ansible, and I am running a playbook. So Ansible -playbook, and then I wanted to ask password, which is -k, and then this time let us have enable verbose logging. Okay, and then after that I want to run a playbook which is test.yml file. Yeah. If you see it, it would also show you the commands what it has executed to achieve whatever you have written in Ansible. So if you go into triple V, that's the advantage. Okay, so now let us do the same job what we have done earlier. Log in into the machine and then check whether there is Jenkins.war or not. Are we seeing Jenkins.war? So we have given home Ansible Jenkins.war. So I've logged in into my node and I'm seeing this file. So in your case, if you want to download anything from internet, if you want to put it in Tomcat, then you would be giving the path as var lib tomcat7 webapps /jenkins.war. That's it. So install Tomcat, download this from var, restart Tomcat, your Jenkins server is ready. So that's the whole aspect which we are. So these modules help us in automating the activity or in doing the Linux activities which we generally do. Yeah, fine. No, it will not, because we are if you want to download it onto the control machine, then you need to have an entry in inventory which is called as localhost. Yeah. What? See, actually, control server is very loosely coupled in Ansible. So in case of any other configuration management tools, it is very easy to find out, because you would have one control server and that's how all the aspects work. But here control server by design is loosely coupled. Even your and my laptop both can be control servers for the same configuration. What is it? It requires? It requires an inventory. It requires Ansible to be installed, and it requires some playbook files. So if I put all of this in Git, whoever clones that Git, okay, and whoever is in the network can try to execute the same commands with, as long as he has Ansible in this machine, right? So it's a loosely coupled architecture. So it's difficult for me to just by look at names and tell what is a control server and all. Okay, because there is no speciality in control server. But if it is Ansible Tower, yes. Okay, Ansible Tower is an enterprise version of this where he gives some server components. So that is easy to identify. But this open source version, no, we can't just tell. Yeah. Fine. So then HTTPS PASSWD, HT password module, line in file module, ping we have used it, right? Service also we have used it. Okay. Script yum also we have used it. Okay. Unarchive module, what do you think that could be? Zip files, right? Download a zip or a tar file and try to unextract from that. I'm not getting into it. Okay. And line in file is an important module, and HTTP SSWD is an important module, which I'll be discussing. But rest of the things, yeah, probably I'll show you script and shell modules. Yeah, but rest of the things I would not be touching into them. You just go through it. You have got the flair of it, right? Just go into each and everything and try to understand what it does, and basically write a very simple file along with that, and you would understand what it is doing. And if you have enough time, enable triple V, and you would also know the equivalent Linux command what Ansible has converted your playbook into. So that's how it operates. Fine. Now I'll continue on these modules basically tomorrow. I'll not do it in this way, but what I want to do is let us do some activity which really makes sense. Okay, so just remind me on this tomorrow. Yeah, saying about those two modules, HTTPA SSWD and line in file. I don't want to discuss everything at one shot. Okay, so what I would do is, I'm interested in this. Okay, so let me do one important commands execution. Okay, let us look at this module first. Ansible module setup. This module will help us a lot in taking decisions. Okay, gather facts about remote host. We have seen that Ansible -m setup and all of that, right? So in that there is something called as filter. Okay, so we would be using that filter to understand certain details of Ansible. But for now, what you do is, yesterday you remember me writing two different playbook files, one for Ubuntu and one for Red Hat. Okay, so I don't want that to happen. So for that, what will be the factor which will decide whether I have to run yum or apt-get? Ela telustundi? If it is Ubuntu, then you have to execute apt-get. If it is Red Hat or RHEL family, basically you have to execute yum. So first let me find out a variable in the fact which tries to tell me about that information. So for that, I would be executing Ansible -m setup, and I want to run this setup on DB server. Okay, this is a Red Hat system. Okay, So let us closely monitor. Ansible underscore OS underscore family. Okay. Now Ansible M setup Ubuntu, right? Ubuntu is other group whatever we have, if I'm not wrong. Okay. So let me get into Ansible underscore OS underscore family. So in case of Ubuntu, I'm getting this variable as Debian, and in case of Red Hat, I'm getting that value as Red Hat, because apt I want to generalize. But if you want to get into the operating system's name, you can also get that. You have to find the equivalent property for that. Okay. So, but if you are not interested in getting all of these things, right? So what you can do is you can just say minus a argument to it, and filter equals to Ansible underscore OS star. Let us see. It will just show me the stuff which is with OS. You should know the variable name. If you know the variable name, filtering it out is very simple. Okay. For example, I want to know all the variables, okay, which starts with Ansible underscore I. I don't know what that I means. So let us just. So are you getting something with us? So it would basically filter out the results rather than you scrolling and looking into all of the stuff. Okay. So okay, this is a whole big list because there are many things with this, right? Fine. So let us go back to our stuff. Ansible underscore OS underscore family, and then I would be doing it not on Ubuntu, but I would be doing it on all. Okay. So we have two possible values over here, Red Hat and Debian. Okay. So now let me write a file, altogether a file. Okay. So classroom examples, new file. I would write apache.yml. This time I don't want to tell which OS it is. Okay. So 3 hyphens, host, all. I am doing an installation, so I want to become yes task. Okay. In the task name, install Apache on Red Hat. For that, I'll be using a module called as yum, and in the yum there will be a property called as name httpd, and then probably state present. Okay. And now I want to write another stuff, name install Apache on Ubuntu. Okay. This is something which you have done. I'm trying to write the same thing whatever we have done yesterday. Okay. Apache to state present looks good. But the problem with this is it will try to execute apt and yum both on the same machine. ఇలా రాసి వదిలేస్తే ఏమవుతుంది, on Red Hat machine it would install yum first and then apt later, so this playbook will fail. Okay. In case of Debian, it will not execute apt because yum it doesn't know anything called as yum. Okay. So this is the place where conditionals come in handy. Okay. So let us get into this conditionals. Okay. And you are still seeing a simple when, right? Yeah. When is like if. Okay. So I'll be writing when Ansible underscore OS underscore family Okay, exactly the same thing. You would see the same example over here also. Okay, so Ansible underscore OS underscore family is equals to, okay. Similarly, here when Ansible underscore OS underscore family is equals to, now there is no need for me to write two different files for two different operating systems. So for whatever things that change, I would be writing this conditional around it, which I would call it as when. That's it. Okay, but in when you should know what is the condition. Okay, so for that always the easier way is just go with setup model, because most of the times we might need to take a decision based out of the different facts which Ansible is correcting. And to understand what are the different facts, use Ansible -m setup and give basically group's name in your inventory file, and then you would come to know all of this stuff. For example, tomorrow you want to run this step only when your free memory is greater than some MB. Okay, let us assume that is the case. Free memory, if it is greater than 500 MB, then only you have to execute this. Otherwise, you are not supposed to execute this. Let us assume that this is a case that comes in your configuration management. Okay, so how do you approach that? First, you would try to see the setup. Okay, and then see if there is any variable which will tell about what is the free memory available. And then you would be writing a condition of when free whenever the free available memory is greater than or equals to 500 MB, then I would be executing this. Otherwise, I will not execute this. So that's the kind of things which Ansible setup brings to you. Okay, so we will elaborate more on this. Okay, and we would look into two other common modules which are line in file and HT password, and then possibly let us try to switch over to the next best thing, which is handler. Okay, so for explaining handler, I would be basically using one Tomcat deployment so that it is easier for you to understand. Okay, so ensure that you have finished Tomcat as part of the work which is given to you. Okay, and then we will be deploying, we'll deploy Jenkins itself. It's okay, we have Jenkins.var, right? Since we know how to download it, we would be using Jenkins.var and would be using deploying it, and as part of that I would be discussing an important aspect called as handlers. Fine, interesting. Okay, or irritating? Yeah, this is the most easiest configuration management tool. Okay, you look at any other configuration management tool, it is going to be tougher than this, definitely not simpler than this. Okay, this is the most simplest tool, and this is the most simplest configuration management tool liked by admin community. If you speak with any admin community and try to discuss them with along with the line saying that Ansible or Chef, what is that you prefer? Okay, most of the people will try to answer that it is Ansible. So yeah, yes. Hmm.